Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. This is my ninth video here. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth toward everybody. This is pretty much everyone because anyone who's essentially an adult, anyone who's shopping for themselves or sort of anyone who's anyone who shops. There's a huge number of people here. I mean, most people watching this video. I'm talking about in this video, taking everything that you've heard about whatever regarding nutrition and that sort of thing, and you already know kind of in general what stores you prefer to go to for different things. I'm talking about making boiling it all down to dollars. So this is kind of a little bit of economics, a little more just looking at nutrition, especially from a saving money standpoint. There's a lot of videos out on YouTube about this, but I think that they're missing some of these things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So I hope you get a lot out of this. I took a bit of preparation for this guy. First off, there's some websites that I think you guys need to check out on your own. The first one is go to http www.ers.usda.gov, and then they'll have a lot of stuff that it can be hard to navigate that website, but you can look up data, or if you want to just do the whole thing after, so www.ers.usda.gov/data data hyphen products /fruit and vegetable prices.aspx. That's a good website to check out. Other websites that we'll be referring to here in a bit mainly are Dr. Fuhrman's website of nutritarianism. It's hard to really be a nutritarian in a way, depending on how much you like meat. But it's really good for everyone to know about this and to tell themselves. We need to tell ourselves we need to adopt more of a beans and nuts along with some vegetables kind of idea with our diets. I think, of course, you can always have a little bit of that stuff, but we still do overdo it a little bit. And the idea is when you get older, at least for me, I think that's what I'm going to need to do. I just want to make sure that meat's a hard one to go less on. But so check out it's HTTPS. Sorry, the website is for Dr. Fuhrman. HTTPS www.drfuhrman.com, and you should get something, but you can pull up /learn/the-nutritarian -diet. And then, of course, you can also look up things like Andy scores and things like that. We'll get to that in a bit as well. Also, look up one last website. If you, this is good to look up. It's I think it's WH Foods, or it's a website that's run. Well, I'll see if I can include that information in the video. But it's a good overview of just kind of a shopping list of foods that tend to be a little bit more economical, or you get the most nutrition for your dollar kind of thing. So getting here into the nitty gritty here of this guy, I'm gonna go over a little bit of the starting out with fruit, going to vegetables, fruit and vegetables. Some of the uh, cheapest, and this is for the USA. I know, so other countries, I do apologize. Hopefully, some of this ties over with other countries. I'm sure it does, but of course, there's some countries where the produce is going to be all tropical stuff. So this is the temperate zone stuff in the USA. I do apologize, so looking at going through this stuff here, a lot of this stuff you can find on these websites as well. But just to summarize, the cheapest fruits are watermelon, bananas. These guys you can get for less than 50 cents per pound. So watermelon, of course, isn't very convenient, but convenience is a different thing. We'll talk about it in a bit. But just to let you know, there's a lot of you can get a lot of fruit for your money with watermelon. So watermelon, bananas, grapefruit, and oranges. I personally there's a few other fruits that are really cheap, like cantaloupe and honeydew. I'm not really crazy about melons, but melons can be less expensive on the outset. But again, you have to deal with cutting it open, and a lot of what you're buying is the shell. Yeah. But so anyway, getting back to these other guys, grapefruit is a little less than $1 a pound. A little less than $1 a pound. Grapefruit's very cheap. Oranges, just a little bit over $1 a pound. The mangoes are kind of tricky because you want to make sure you get a good mango, and again, they're tropical. But they're pretty cheap. You can get them for a little over $1.25 per pound. Then I'm going to go through all these a little quicker. Tangerines, peaches, apples. These are steadily getting more expensive. Apples, you get to a little over $1.50 per pound. Pears, but the same as apples. Kiwi fruit is now getting into that $2 range. Grapes, pomegranate, strawberries, apricots. By the time we get to apricots and cherries, looking at about $3 per pound. Cherries actually $3.50. And then blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, of course, being a little bit more expensive. However, there's another side to this, and that's actually it takes in regard to what the fruit you're actually eating. And there's also so basically you'll see what I'm talking about. There's another list that has more to do with what you're actually eating, rather. So they take out the shell or the pits or whatever. So and that by that way of looking at things, watermelon, apples, papayas, grapefruit, bananas, nectarines, mangoes, pears, peaches, kiwi fruit, cantaloupe, plums, grapes, blueberries, and apricots. They're some of the better ones to look at. And then tangerines and honeydew, strawberries and tangels, they're okay. Avocados are kind of middle of the road. I think avocados are always very important to buy. They're moderately priced, so they're kind of, you want to save some money for those guys. But the reason why is because they're really good for you, and they're also pretty filling. They can actually, an avocado can replace a protein, especially if you have some rice and beans with that avocado. That's just a great meal. That's totally plant food based. Avocados, rice, and beans. It sounds a little bit Mexican, yeah. Or in the New World, but so just a little bit about an avocado. Or choosing an avocado. There's a website that you can look at. It's http. It's a semicolon. 2 backslashes healthylivingHowTo.com /1 /posts /2014 /03 /how-to-the-perfect-avocado.html. All right, so getting to vegetables here. I know these guys are, gotta eat them. Fruits are always good. Vegetables are always good for you. So the cheap guys are potatoes, green cabbage, carrots, and onions. That sound familiar? It's because they're the basics for stews. I think stews, if you have the time to make them, the meat's by far always the most expensive thing in a stew. But the vegetables are cheap, dirt cheap. Along with those guys, I didn't list them, but turnips and rutabaga, they're right in there too, I'm sure. But potatoes, green cabbage, carrots, and onions, all those guys you can get for less than $1 a pound, especially potatoes and green cabbage. Sweet potatoes are a little bit over, a little under $1 a pound. Definitely a good choice for beta carotene, vitamin A, all that good stuff, all kinds of potassium and minerals. I'm not crazy about them, but I think they're okay. Of course, going down the list again with less expensive to more expensive. These are less expensive again still after the stew type vegetables. You have cucumbers, iceberg lettuce, cauliflower heads, red cabbage, canned beets, celery, tomatoes, butternut squash, radishes, green bell peppers, canned pumpkin, baby carrots, broccoli, summer squash, frozen peas, frozen lima beans. By the time you get to about green beans here, you're looking at about $2 per pound. Frozen is definitely cheaper, and for most of these guys, frozen is going to be cheaper. If you ever buy asparagus, by the way, make sure that you actually buy, in that case, fresh, because frozen asparagus is crazy expensive. Okay, so then we're looking at, let's see, okay, so artichoke, red bell peppers, broccoli florets, turnip greens, collards, sweet corn, romaine lettuce, Brussels sprouts. By the time you get to Brussels sprouts, you're looking at about $3 per pound. Cauliflower florets, kale, and then of course asparagus is going to be a little bit pricier. Okra, right up there. You want to buy frozen okra though. That's the better way to go. And again, there's a lot of disparities between frozen and fresh vegetables. Most vegetables are better for frozen, but again, you can check out those websites, the USDA.gov, for more information about all that stuff. Spinach can be quite expensive, fresh spinach per pound. So better to go with frozen spinach. Of course, cherry tomatoes are expensive. Most mushrooms tend to be expensive as well, but they're definitely worth buying, something nutritionally. Dr. Furman talks a lot about, that element of nutrition. Mushrooms can do a lot of good things for you. So they're often overlooked. I don't eat enough mushrooms myself, but I eat more than probably many. So, of course, going with that, what the waste idea, what vegetables are you can get the most for with discarding all the whatever. Kind of goes in this order: cabbage, potatoes, broccoli florets, carrots, radishes, onions, cucumbers, mustard greens, celery, bell peppers, romaine lettuce, iceberg lettuce, cauliflower florets, kale, cauliflower heads, sweet potatoes, broccoli, green beans, baby carrots. Spinach is actually better. I guess spinach you can go either way, but it's not cheap, still not very cheap. But tomatoes, squash, and mushrooms. So you can use more parts of the vegetable from these guys. Now, of course, it goes without saying, beans are not always very tasty, but they're very cheap. So we got pinto beans, lentils, black beans, black-eyed peas, Great Northern beans, kidney beans, plus there's a bunch of other ones, of course, like the Great Northern beans are white beans like navy beans and cantellini beans, but there's also garbanzo beans. All these kinds of things, you're looking at basically between $1 to a little over $1.50 per pound if it's dried. Dried beans are just a given. What oftentimes happens though is if you just don't eat them, they can go bad. So they're just one of those foods you have in case you don't have anything. They're food storage. We consider them to be food storage a lot of times, but we just need to, I think, eat them a bit more often, go through them a bit more. And now, of course, it goes without saying, if beans are cheap, but nuts, particularly nuts, are more expensive. They can be if you eat a lot of them. So again, I've mentioned Trader Joe's before in another video. I think Trader Joe's generally has the best prices on nuts, much better than Whole Foods. So there's some other places that might have decent prices. I always liked Albertsons peanuts, but peanuts I know get a bad rap sometimes. But anyway, you can get generally most nuts Peanuts are cheaper, of course. It varies, but looking at for yeah, it's you can. I mean, Albertsons. I remember you can get a pretty good sized bag for like $5. Like I don't know how many pounds, but it's a big bag. Um, so almonds, walnuts, and cashews, Brazil nuts. So almonds, walnuts, cashews, and Brazil nuts. They're all looking at. You want to go for about see if you can find between $5 to $6 per half pound. That's a pretty good price for those guys, right in that range. Um, Thereabouts. That's what you're doing well if you can find that price range for those guys. Pistachios, macadamia nuts, and pecans are all going to be more expensive, especially pistachios. So pistachios, especially if they're already deshelled, if the shells are gone, those guys are going to be yeah, yeah, expensive. So seeds are a good option to kind of lessen the cost of nuts and seeds. Pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, flax seeds. These are really good for you. Personally, I find my two favorites: pumpkin and sunflower. Flax seeds and chia seeds, I have to figure out how to eat them a little better. But so I know you guys probably have a lot of grains. Grains tend to be more affordable, but you just don't need the craziest. No offense to Whole Foods, but you just don't need forbidden rice or red quinoa. Unless you want those guys, you shouldn't have to spend a whole lot for grains. They're like a staple, almost like beans. I would stick with quinoa and brown rice, and if you have a good bread brand you like that's 100% stone ground whole wheat, make sure it's that kind of stuff. Just stick with it. But the gluten stuff, I know it's getting some bad press too, so amaranth and millet, that sort of stuff might be a good option too, along with quinoa and brown rice, wild rice, that sort of thing. So, of course, it goes without saying that I was going to get to this point with this section here. Of all things animal related, I don't think a lot of this stuff really should be harped on very much, mentioned that very much. But the cheap stuff out there is not going to be the healthiest stuff, pretty much. So that's why we just don't want to overdo it with animal foods. They're expensive, and you get the higher quality stuff that's going to be a little bit better for you. It's going to take a lot of money, and you pay a price if you're a carnivore these days. If you want to be a carnivore that's trying to eat the grass-fed stuff too. You can personally know a butcher or a cattle rancher, but it's still going to be a fair amount of money, no matter what it is. You can go hunting if you want to. So if you're going to go cheap, just, this is common knowledge, fairly common, but it bears repeating. Go for milk, yogurt, eggs, canned tuna, cod, turkey, and chicken. Those are the basics, some of the basics. And it goes without saying, but it bears repeating. Milk, yogurt, eggs, canned tuna, cod, turkey, and chicken. And, dairy and meat have some important things in them that you need. It's just easy to overdo it. Butter is just too unhealthy really to eat regularly, so I don't buy it. And the same thing with cheese. Well, cheese for me, I just don't eat it for other reasons. I just don't like it. But of course, you can get the grass-fed cow's milk and grass-fed cheese and goat cheese and all that stuff. It's more expensive though. It's better for you, but it's more expensive. So I leave out conventional milk altogether myself and do substitutes like almond milk and coconut milk, rice milk, banana milk, cashew milk even. They are pricier, but the way to offset that is by using also supplements for calcium and vitamin D, and also getting all your calcium, vitamin D, and magnesium and things from seeds and dark leafy greens and fish and shellfish, that sort of thing. And fish and shellfish, I know it's more expensive too, so we're talking like a lot of canned tuna, that sort of thing too. Anything that's not too high in mercury. But the thing is that all animal foods, particularly animal foods, should be of a higher quality if you're eating them fairly regularly. Like let's say you get a lot of organic chicken that's skinless. Well, if you eat chicken a bit more than say beef, this is what I do. I get organic, skinless chicken, and I don't eat as much meat, so I tell myself I can get something on occasion that's conventional meat, but it's just everybody's a little different. I know you guys are all a little different. Just keep in mind you want to be careful with how much conventional animal foods you eat because it's going to catch up to you at some point. Both dairy and meat and poultry, especially meat. So goes without saying, when considering all this stuff, make sure that you don't buying something at someone else's grocery list. My grocery list isn't the same as some vegan, 20-year-old girl who's eating salads all the time. That's great. She, but it's I'm got a lot of muscle, and I should eat a lot of vegetables too, but I need eggs, nuts. Well, just more vegetables, So, but where I'm going with this is make sure that you keep in mind your own tastes when you go shopping. If you're going to try something new, it's a good idea to have someone that who knows how to prepare that new food. If it's a vegetable, so, knows how to prepare it well. You don't want to. Produce is cheap, but you don't want to end up trying new stuff and having to throw a lot of it out because you forget about it. The rutabaga, the turnips, the beets, radishes, whatever. Yeah, that kind of thing. Some funky thing that you don't know what it is. You bought it because you thought it looked cool. So star fruit. I don't know. That you can just eat raw. So, another kind of obvious thing that is, a lot of people think is obvious, but it still bears repeating. Durable stuff is good. This is why we tend to buy things like, eggs and apples, carrots and all kinds of frozen stuff. Beans, nuts, seeds, quinoa, brown rice, onions, potatoes, grapefruit, dried herbs and spices. The reason we buy this stuff, whatever stuff we like, if that list is because it sticks around. You don't have to worry about it going bad. Some of that stuff will last for a long, long time. And so it just takes, give yourself a break. And, the stuff that you eat, it's fresh produce, what you need. Make sure that you know how much of that stuff you're going to eat in a given time, period. If you're trying to do something where you're eating more fresh produce, go at it not immediately a ton, a lot more, but a little bit, just a little bit, like one extra thing, and then two extra things a little later. But you also want to be, of course, considerate if you have roommates, that sort of thing. So maybe you go shopping more often for fresh produce, if time allows for that. But you just get less. You just get less. You get like some salads and stuff, whatever. But make sure that you just fresh produce stuff. Make sure that you're very aware of where you're at there. If you're, how much you actually eat of that stuff. Again, if you're making changes, it's probably a good idea to not all of a sudden boom, like 3 gigantic salads in one day. That's a very good idea. A lot of fiber, but yeah. So. Yeah. So, okay. Quality is vital. You want to keep in mind the Dirty Dozen with regards, and there's actually a few more produce things with regards to Dirty Dozen. You want to actually buy organic. You do want to buy organic when it comes to these fruits and vegetables. Apples, peaches, cucumbers, bell peppers, blueberries, tomatoes, potatoes, snap peas, nectarines, celery, grapes, strawberries, and spinach. The reason why you want to buy organic with those guys is because there's some stuff in there that you don't want to eat. They're still healthy for you, but there's a lot of pesticides, residues, and fungicides and things. So you want to wash. If you buy those things conventionally, you need to wash them thoroughly. And believe me, I don't think we know what that always means. It's better to get those fruits and vegetables organic. If you can't afford organic, you just need to make sure that you wash them extremely thoroughly. It's very important. But again, because of the complexity of animal foods, It's actually more important to buy organic, with animal foods. That's actually a little bit more important, in my opinion. Um, so. Again, it's important to keep in mind nutrition per calorie, and that's where, again, look up Dr. Furman, his website, and also Andy scores. Andy scores can be misleading because they only tell you how many vitamins and minerals, the density of those vitamins and minerals there is per calorie. So of course it goes without saying, kale doesn't have very many calories at all, but it has a ton of vitamin A, K, and C. I mean, and just broccoli and spinach, these kinds of things just have a lot of nutrients, a ton of nutrients for how, but they have very few calories, so that's why they rank so highly. But if you eat a lot of vegetables, for instance, and eat some strawberries and things, and blueberries, it's very, very healthy. But the reason why you're like, well, so where's the filling food? Well, the filling food is lower down on the list because it's still healthy. It still gets a rating. Maybe it's a double-digit rating, not a triple, or not a high double. I'll go through 1,000. So, yeah, it's maybe not a triple-digit rating, Andy rating, but it's still good for you. They're still good for you. Chicken is still good for you, but it's just because there's more calories. So the higher calorie foods are going to have lower scores because a certain number of, anyway, they're just more calorie dense. So just keep that in mind, and also that Andy doesn't also take into account the need to get a comprehensive array of nutrients in your diet. That's why supplements are also a good idea, high quality supplements. So the last aspect to making all the stuff that everyone says make more sense. So we talked about a lot of things, and we'll go over this again, review all these things. But you also want to keep in mind convenience if you're on the run a bit, on the go. So of course, produce is ideal that way, and nuts and seeds and stuff. But it's a good idea to get a few things here and there that are fuel foods in addition to those things that they don't take a lot of time to prepare if you're really busy. So you want to look at healthier microwavable foods, but hopefully not on a regular basis. You really want to minimize that stuff. You really do. Don't unless you're really, really in a pinch. Don't buy Top Ramen. Just don't buy mac and cheese all the time. It's not a good idea. So you need to cook your fuel food. Cook that stuff. Cook your pasta. Cook your beans. Soak them and then boil them, sort of thing. So let's see. I've also heard of course, soaking nuts and that sort of thing. That's something that I think is also worth looking into a little bit. So again, going over this aspect again, all these aspects, we're looking at keeping in mind cost for different healthy foods. And if you have any questions, I do welcome. Definitely feel free to ask me any questions that you have about any of the websites I mentioned, any foods, what their costs are, anything like that. So there's the cost of foods. There's how much you actually like different foods. There's durability, quality, nutrition, and convenience. And that's about it for this video. And hopefully this was useful to you guys. I know it's a little bit longer video. Thanks for staying with me a little bit. And I will catch you guys a little bit later. All right, take care.